up your YouTube, search for Stukeley Meadows, watch on your big screen.
Or another device if you're at home.
Get yourself comfy, this could take a while. What a happy scene. Something new every day for your long-term memory. This is so exciting, it is nearly time for a Stukeley assembly. And welcome to our Wednesday reading assembly, our last one of 2021. For each other we, every day we, to improve we, together we will. Every single Stukeley day we focus on. Our Stukeley motto is, our Stukeley curriculum is, our Stukeley plan for home learning is. 4 words that make the magic happen. Yes, they do. Hello everyone, I've got an apology today. If you're here for the author warm-up, ain't gonna happen. If you're here for cheer, boo, song or silence, ain't gonna happen. The good news is we're reading more of the Christmas Carol, Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but we haven't got enough time left to just do 5 or 6 minutes. We're going to have to power through it. So there's no author warm-up, there's no cheer, boo, song or silence, and it's not even Slimming World's fault, right? There's none of it because I need to push on with the book. Please don't get sad about no final cheer, boo, song or silence for 2021. It's going to be back in 2022 straight away. Okay, quick reminder last week, Christmas Carol. So we, Scrooge, horrible man, hates children, hates Christmas, loves money, sends his workers home. So he sends Bob Cratchit home, says go home for Christmas Day, come back on Boxing Day. Gah, Scrooge. Scrooge then goes home, and then these kind of spirits start to come into his room at night, and the spirit of Jacob Marley, who Scrooge used to work with, kind of haunts him, and Scrooge gets really scared and goes back to sleep. Okay, and this is the last picture we saw of him looking out. Remember we had the door knocker as well. So Scrooge is now asleep, but it's not a great sleep. Scrooge was awoken by his clock striking 1. Dong! He held his breath and peeped out from under the covers. Nothing. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then, like a bolt of lightning, a bright flash filled the room. As the curtains around his bed were flung violently apart, Scrooge gasped. His heart was thumping and his eyes struggled to adjust to the light. The figure, gradually becoming clear to him, was a small, fresh-faced little boy. But it had long grey hair and thin arms that made him look grotesquely old. The strange thing was, from the top of his head sprang a bright, clear fountain of light. I mean, this is a really strange spirit. Who are you? Said Scrooge. I am the ghost of Christmas past. Long past? No, your past. Don't be afraid, Scrooge. I have come to do you good. I'd rather have a good night's sleep, said Scrooge. Trying to break the silence, the spirit ignored him. Come with me, beckoned the spirit, walking towards the window. Touch my heart and you will fly with me. Scrooge was so scared he did what he was told, and then Scrooge and the spirit flew through the night, out of London into the beautiful fields filled with snow. All of a sudden, it was daylight again. So this is a bit like a dream for Scrooge, a bit like a dream. Scrooge could see happy children playing around in the snow. Why do you weep? Why are you so sad? Asked the spirit. I was a boy here, said Scrooge. I was a boy in this place. They came to a cold classroom, but there was one boy sitting in a corner reading. So remember, they've gone back in the past, way back in the past when Scrooge was a boy. That's me, said Scrooge. Poor lonely Ebenezer Scrooge. I spent so many Christmases here on my own with books. But then what happened? Said the spirit of past. One day my sister took me home, remembered Scrooge. And as he watched, in front of him he saw the young Scrooge get up, a few years older. The boy paced around the room waiting for something. That's me, said Scrooge. In bounded a girl to the room. That's my sister, said Scrooge. The boy and the sister hugged, and they had a wonderful embrace together, warm and gentle. My sister grew up to be a wonderful woman, said Scrooge. I know, came the reply from the spirit. But then, a few years ago, she died, didn't she, Scrooge, leaving just one son? That's my nephew, said Scrooge. And at that moment, he wished he could talk to his nephew. Come, come, time is short, said the spirit, clicked his fingers and hurried Scrooge on. Scrooge was still back in his past. Now, the scene in front of him changed in front of his eyes. He found himself tapping his feet and smiling, and he started to hear some merry melodies being played on a frisky fiddle. Around him, 40 people laughed and danced, merrily together. They danced in and out, pranced up and down, bumped into one another, and it looked like so much fun. Bright-eyed, red-cheeked and out of breath, they rested, drank, danced, and the music played on. On the tables there was a magnificent spread of turkey, ham, mince pies, Christmas cake, and plenty of beer, and the dancers danced around all night long. Scrooge, my boy! Scrooge! Merry Christmas! The older Scrooge, so the real-life Scrooge, saw himself at the party many, many years ago, holding up a glass. Merry Christmas, Mr. Fezziwig! Oh look, said the older Scrooge. It's a Fezziwig, it's old Fezziwig. He was my boss. Was he a good man to work for, said the spirit. Oh, he was the best, said Scrooge. He had the power to make us happy or unhappy. He made our work a pleasure or he made our work pain. He always chose to make us happy. Oh, isn't it wonderful that you worked for such a generous man, said the spirit. Yes, it is, said Scrooge, suddenly wondering if he would ever get to talk to Bob Cratchit again. Now remember, what's happening is the spirit is showing Scrooge what he was like when he was younger. He was happy, he was generous, and he loved people. Something really bad's gone wrong. The spirit clicked his fingers again, and suddenly a new scene came in front of them. It was a pretty young lady crying, handing a ring to a solemn young man sitting next to her. You are no longer the boy I loved. You only think of money and gold. I no longer love you. But wealth and money's important for our future, said the young man. Love and goodness are more important, and they are dying in you. I cannot marry you anymore. The older Scrooge was watching himself as a younger man being left by the love of his life. The older Scrooge fell to his knees. Oh, please, let this end. I can't take it anymore. The spirit turned away, put on his hat. The light coming out of his crown was extinguished. And all of a sudden, Scrooge was alone in his bedroom again. Scrooge fell into a sleep and then woke up with a loud snore. He looked at his clock. He could not believe it. The clock struck dong, 1 again. Scrooge poked a foot out of the bed. He stood up, trembling, and went to the door. Opening it slightly, he put his eye to the tiny crack. Another eye stared back at him. Scrooge jumped back and the door burst open. Woo! A jolly giant of a man strode into the room carrying a torch. His magnificent green robe was bordered with fur. I am the ghost of Christmas present, his voice rang out. Please teach me your lessons, said Scrooge. So Scrooge has now worked out that they're here to help him and show him. Follow me, said the spirit. His strong arm round Scrooge's shoulder. They went outside where the damp morning mist and the dirty melting snow framed London as well as Scrooge knew it. But at the same time, people were cheerful. And people were shoveling the snow away and throwing snowballs, and they whizzed and splattered around. So now they're in Christmas now, Christmas today. Scrooge is seeing what's happening now, but he's still kind of asleep. Bustling between brightly lit, glowing shops, the people ran and dashed, forgetting their anger, any quarrels and anger, full of spirit of human love. Inside the shops, oh, what a sight! Onions sat in their baskets like jolly old men. French plums blushed modestly as shelves of rosy apples flirted with the customers. Turkey and goose hung deliciously from the rails, waiting for the chance to get onto a Christmas dinner table. Baskets clattered, tills chinged, people forgot their money, their purchases, and came dashing back, laughing at their mistake. The church bells rang their invitation, and the crowds flocked towards the churches. It was Christmas Day, and the ghost of Christmas present watched it all with a big smile on his face. And so did Scrooge. The spirit told Scrooge to go a few streets further on, and they saw Bob Cratchit striding towards the front door, carrying a small boy on his shoulders. They followed him into Bob Cratchit's kitchen, warm and welcoming. So now remember, Scrooge is in the present day, and he's in the Cratchit. Now they can't see him. The Cratchits can't see Scrooge in the spirit, but they can see the Cratchits. Scrooge felt his nose was not big enough to breathe in all the wonderful smells. The goose, barely big enough to feed the family, sat on the table, the vegetables bubbled and the pudding steamed, and the family were happy. Bob's wife, her dirty, worn-out clothes decorated with cheap ribbons, was making the brandy butter, and their eldest daughter stirred the gravy, and their eldest son checked the water for the potatoes. 2 young little Cratchits ran excitedly round the kitchen. In the other room, now down from Bob's shoulders, was Tiny Tim, helping his father to prepare the table. Tiny Tim was a pale, frail little boy with the face of an angel. Scrooge noticed that he could only walk with a crutch, and that his weak legs were held with thick iron frames. Tiny Tim offered his father a little bit of help before sitting down on a chair. The children ran in ahead of Mrs. Cratchit, who was nervously carrying the goose. As Bob carved the bird, everybody expressed amazement at the tenderness of the meat. Nobody said how small the food portions were, or how little they were actually eating. "We are so fortunate to have each other," said Tiny Tim. "I hope that we can remember children that are less fortunate than us." He looked down at his thin, weak legs. "I hope as well," he said to Bob, "that I can be stronger in spirit than I am in body, and I want to do some good in this world for as long as I'm able to live." As they served the dinner, Tiny Tim sang a prayer of thanks. Fighting back a tear in his eye, Bob held Tim's little hand in his own. "Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us," beamed Bob. "Merry Christmas," said the family. "God bless all of us," said Tiny Tim. Scrooge looked at Tim. Now remember, they can't see or hear Scrooge. Scrooge looked at the spirit and at Tim. "Tell me, are the family really this poor? I had no idea," said Scrooge. "And will Tiny Tim live?" "Next year there'll be an empty chair at the table," said the spirit. "If they continue to be poor and Tim gets more cold and more unwell, he will die." "Oh no, oh no," said Scrooge. "Please no, tell me, what can we do to save him?" Scrooge thought carefully about this. Who had the power to change Tiny Tim's fortunes? Who had the power to save this child's life? The spirit spoke sternly. "You have sometimes said that a poor person's death is one less person to feed. "Have you said that before?" said the spirit. Scrooge hung his head in shame. I have. "Think about this poor man's child," said the spirit. "I am," said Scrooge. "I am." The spirit gently pointed to the dinner table, where they were no longer happy. They were no longer cheerful. "Why should we drink a toast to Mr. Scrooge?" said Bob Cratchit's children. "Because Christmas, he is all alone," said Bob Cratchit. "I know he has been mean to me, but even he deserves our thoughts on Christmas Day." "It's very difficult to do this," said the children. "It's very difficult for us to say this when he's so mean to you." But Bob Cratchit said, with his wonderfully kind mind, "At Christmas we should forgive others." He raised his glass. "To Mr. Scrooge," he said, and the whole house did the same. Stepping back out into the streets, Scrooge and the spirit noticed that it had suddenly got colder. Scrooge then looked at the spirit, who had started to get older himself, and his body was withering away. Who are all these children out here?" said Scrooge. "They are the children we've created. Angels should live within these tiny bodies, but they are wasting away." As they arrived back at Scrooge's house, remember he's been visited by the ghost of Christmas past and the ghost of Christmas present, and that's where he's just been. As they got back to Scrooge's house, the spirit disappeared completely. All Scrooge could think about was Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim. He laid on his bed and fell into a deep sleep. Right, we're going to finish there. We've got the last few paragraphs and chapters to do. Remember, this is the abridged version. We'll do the rest of that tomorrow and Friday, so we'll get it finished. Whew, I'm exhausted. Straight into birthdays. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Oh, come on! Let's do this. Let's do this. Happy birthday today to Noah F in year 5. Happy birthday, Noah. A great day had so far, I hope. Sure, there's loads of family and friend fun lined up. Year 5, another year old. You've only got one more birthday left at Stukeley, Noah. Make the most of it. Have a good one. Right, straight into a very, very quick everyday knowledge. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. Oh yeah. Oh look. Ah, map of Europe. Lovely. Okay. I want country 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Oh, pretty well done. Okay, so we have got Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, England, Republic of Ireland, France, Spain and Italy. Yes, we have. Well done. Okay. That's it. There's so much to do. It's almost Christmas. Let's finish with the festive bit in assembly. I'm going to start with the chimney, everyone, because, yes, there's a drop. And we know how much we love a drop. It's the 15th. It's a multiple of 3. Oh, it's just brilliant. It is just brilliant to get the drop. It really makes me happy to see that. I hope you saw the advent window, got it scribbled down. heard a few arguments in school about whether one of those was an apostrophe or a comma earlier on. You'll work it out. You'll work it out eventually. But yeah, not many left. And remember, after Friday, they'll all be on the Twitter, so you'll have to collect them through that. Okay? Super job. Christmas messages, they're starting to slow down. I'm a bit worried that I'm going to get like 1 million on Thursday, so get them in tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Thursday's tomorrow. Oh man, get them in. Oh, this is beautiful. To Mr. Singletary and everyone at Stukeley Meadows, have a very Merry Christmas from everyone in Year 4. It's one of their Lowry style prints. I really like that one. Thank you, Year 4. To Mr. Singletary, Merry Christmas from Molly in Year 3. Molly OR. Love that one. Mol. This one here is from Tiana G in Year 3. Always love a rhymer. That's to Mr. Smith and everyone else. Love that reindeer pic. Happy Christmas to you. Lovely big Christmassy heart. To teachers and staff and the SOS team, I wish you a happy Christmas. Everything good. Have fun. We love your hard work and all you do for us. Thank you for Mr. Singletary for being our head teacher. Thanks for Year 5 teachers, especially Mrs. Bradbury for your hard work, and Mrs. Clark, and that's from Maya. Oh Maya, what a lovely message. That's really made me smile. Thank you, Maya. And then we've got a Merry Christmas here from Claudia to Stukeley Meadows family and Amy. Merry Christmas from Claudia, Year 6 Oak. And finally, very lovely snowy picture. That's to Hannah and Isla from Tilly in Year 3. One day left, everyone. Get them in tomorrow. I'll share them. Have a great rest of the day. See you soon.